2020 joint meeting of the Needham Select Board, the School Committee and the Finance Committee. Good evening and welcome. I'm the Mo Handle Select Board Chair. This open meeting of the Needham Select Board, School Committee and Finance Committee is being conducted remotely, consistent with current state regulations, and is being recorded. Public access to this meeting does not ensure that there will be a public participation. Unless required by law, this particular meeting will not have public comment. Following this introduction and roll calls, each committee will convene in this open session and vote on a motion to move to executive session consistent with exception 6, acquisition of real property. The boards will not return to open session prior to their adjournments. First, we'll confirm that all members of the select board are present. When I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Mr. Matthews.
Here.
Mr. Borelli.
Here.
Mr. Bullion.
Here.
Marianne Cooley. Ms. Cooley.
Here.
And the chair obviously is here. So we are all present. First, we'll ask the Finance Committee to convene and take its roll call, and then the School Committee. Well, first, yes. So first we'll call on the Finance Committee to convene.
Great. Good evening. I am Carol Fischetti, the chair of the Needham Finance Committee. Welcome to this open meeting of the Needham Select Board, School Committee, and Finance Committee. This meeting is being conducted remotely, consistent with current state regulations, and is being recorded. Public access to this meeting does not ensure that there will be public participation unless required by law. This particular meeting will not have public comment. Please allow me to call a roll of the members of the Needham Finance Committee. When I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Josh Levy?
Yes.
John Connolly?
Yes.
Louise Miller? She's here yet. Dick Riley?
Yes.
Rick Lunetta?
Yes.
Barry Kaufman?
Yes.
Tom Jacob?
Yes.
Staff member Louise Misberg?
Yes.
And myself, Carol Fischetti. Thank
And
you.
now for the School Committee, Andrea Longo Carter, Chair.
Good evening. I'm Andrea Longo Carter, Chair of the Needham School Committee. This open meeting of the Select Board, School Committee, and Finance Committee is being conducted remotely, consistent with current state regulations, and is being recorded. Public access to this meeting does not ensure that there will be public participation unless required by law, and this particular public meeting will not have public comment. I would now like to do a roll call vote of the School Committee. And when I call your name, please answer in the affirmative. Matt Spengler,
Yes.
Sue Neckes,
Yes.
Aaron Pressman,
Yes.
Michael Grice,
Yes.
Connie Barr.
Yes.
We're also joined by our Superintendent, Dan Gutekanst. Can you acknowledge your presence, Dan? Thank you. Not present is Heidi Black, and the chair, Andrea Longo Carter, is also present. So 6 members present.
Thank you. And I would also note the presence of our town manager, Kay Fitzpatrick, and our town council, Chris Heap. I'm going to declare that, or ask for a motion from the Board of Selectmen, or the Select Board rather, to enter into executive session to consider the purchase, exchange, lease, or value of real property, and so declare that an open meeting may have a detrimental effect on the negotiating position of this body, and not to return to open session prior to adjourning.
So moved.
Second.
There's a motion and a second, and call the roll. Any discussion on the motion before I call the roll? Mr. Matthews,
Yes.
Ms. Cooley,
Yes.
Mr. Borelli,
Yes.
and Mr. Bullion.
Yes.
And did I miss anybody?
Yourself.
The chair votes yes. So that's unanimous. I'll now pass the gavel to Andrea Longo Carter for the School Committee.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to ask for a motion to convene to executive session for exception 6, acquisition of real property, not to return to open session prior to adjournment.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. We'll do a roll call vote. Matt Spengler.
Yes.
Sorry, I should have asked. Is there any discussion
Aye.
on the motion?
No.
No discussion. Okay. Matt,
Aye.
Sue,
Aye.
Aaron,
Aye.
Michael,
Aye.
Connie,
Aye.
and I vote aye as well. That's a 6-0-0 vote.
Oh, that's what Mary Ann got it. The eye. Just saying.
Of course.
Now I know.
Okay, and now for the Finance Committee.
Thank you. Our
Carol,
first order of business with the Finance Committee is to ask for a motion to move into executive session consistent with exemption 6, acquisition of real property, which will allow us to purchase, exchange, lease, or value real property. And if the chair declares that the open meeting may have a detrimental effect on negotiating the position, we can return. We do not plan to return to open session prior to adjourning. So do I have a motion from somebody on the Finance Committee to move? to
So
executive
moved.
session?
Second.
Great, let me take a roll call vote on that. Dick Riley,
Yes.
Rick Lunetta,
Yes.
Barry Kaufman,
Yes.
Tom Jacob,
Yes.
John Conley,
Yes.
and myself, Carol Fischetti.
And I vote
And
yes.
sorry, Josh, and Josh Levy.
thank you. We will now move to executive session and leave the open session.